Good evening and welcome to the July 19th, 2021 Sylvania Board of Education meeting. Ms. Shanks, can you call the roll?
Julie Hoffman.
Here.
Bruce Lanslutsky.
Here.
Greg Fowler.
Here.
Kimberly Conklin.
Here. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very nice to see people here and join us. We will start with you, Dr. Robbie, for Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. Good afternoon, everyone. It is great to see people here in person for our board meeting. Just to share a few items with the folks who may be watching at home and those who may watch it later, and for those that are here, we started summer session 2 of our summer swing program. This second session includes not only our elementary students, but also our junior high school students and our high school students. By the time we complete both sessions of our student summer swing program, we will have served over 600 students to help close the gap of learning loss due to the pandemic. So we're very excited about the program that we have been able to provide, and we look forward to offering that program again in the future. Also, we are gearing up for the beginning of school in so many ways. We are continuing to hire folks for our district. Custodians are busy cleaning buildings, and it's been warm in the building, but they are working so hard to make sure that they are ready for when our students return. And 2 things I would also like to note is we have 2 supply donation runs that are going to be taking place within the next week here in Sylvania. The first one is the Sylvania Area Family Services School Supply Donation Run, and that will take place through the end of this month. And actually details for this particular supply event is on the Sylvania Area Family Services website. So if you're interested in either donating materials or benefiting from some of those donated materials, you will need to pre-register on their website. So make sure you do that if you are in need, but we're excited that we have them to support our students who may have some challenges in securing school supplies. The second event will be this Friday. The 13 ABC station, the news station, does an annual event, and they will be at Dave White Chevrolet this Friday from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. And you too can see details about how you can go about stuffing the bus with school supplies for our students for the upcoming school year. And that's all I have for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are to commendations.
I am excited to share that we have several students that participated in the Sylvania Northview AP research team. Each of the students in their own right have received specific accolades, but I will tell you the team consists of Anish Gupta, Frank Lee, Haroon Lamani, and Dinti Well-Lavita. I believe that's how we say that name exactly. If not, I apologize for butchering it. I will get better. I will let you know that they received the Harold C. Shaw Memorial Outstanding School Award at the Ohio Academy of Science State Science Day. Also, Anish Gupta is a Northview junior who placed 3rd at the 2021 Ohio Junior Science and Humanities Symposium. Haroon is also a Northview junior who earned a superior rating at the OAS State Science Day and qualified actually for the 2021 International Science and Engineering Fair. That's pretty impressive as a junior. We have Frank Lee, also a junior who earned a superior rating at the OAS State Science Day and 1st place in statistical analysis. I had statistical analysis in my doctoral program. I still twitch. That's like one of the hardest things to do. So that is just truly impressive that he has managed to master that and place 1st place with such a tough subject. And finally, I think it's important to recognize Catherine Nelson, who is our Northview Science Department Chair. She was selected as the 2019 Ohio Junior Science and Humanities Symposium Colonel George F. Weiss Distinguished Teacher, and as the 2020 National Teacher of the Year by the Army Educational Outreach Program Alumni Association. I think what these commendations share that we have great students and we have great staff doing great things here in Sylvania schools.
I will move approval.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions?
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Very impressive. Ms. Hanks?
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Bruce Lonslutsky,
Yes.
Greg Fowler,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin.
Yes.
Thank you. And this is the first opportunity for public participation for items which are on our agenda.
There's none.
Anything virtually?
We'll check again, there were.
No? Okay. Having none, then we are with you, Ms. Hanks.
Thank you. I wanted to start with the slideshow of where we were or where we ended up for the fiscal year because, I was gonna just write the narrative, but I wasn't, I think it's just better to present the information because it's really good and despite all of the challenges we had this year. So I'll start off with the current year estimated, the change in revenue, we were down 195,000, off the forecast 133, and so we had a negative 61,000 off of the forecast estimates. But what's interesting about this is that we were supposed to receive a check for $208,000 for our Medicaid reimbursement settlement, and it was supposed to, we were supposed to receive it before June 30th, and we received it July 5th. So had we received that check, it would have been positive. So that is all gonna go for this year. And then the expenditure variance is, we're up $4.2 million, and that seems like a lot to be up for this fiscal year. But if you, I'll tell you in a little bit how that's not, it's not as bad as what it seems, especially for this year. So we ended the fiscal year, $285,000 revenues over expenses. That's a little over 1 day's cash for 101 days cash. Remember, we have that 60-day cash balance, that cash balance policy. So we were down a little bit from where we thought we were going to be. So when I initially saw that 285, I was expecting, 1.3 million. So I was initially, just let down by that. But once I got through the information, it ended up being a lot better. So I want to go through the revenue collection for this year, and it also provides information for the last few fiscal years. But the general property tax piece, if you recall, we had that big refund that we had to pay out. So that's going to come back next year. Not all of it, but we had to pay out about $2.2 million for the refund, and then we lost $486,000 for that property on top of that. So down at 1.4 million after we calculated or factored in the new construction. Our school foundation, we were up $1 million, but still off from fiscal year 2019 because we were down, we were cut $1.7 million last year in 2020 at when the pandemic hit. So we're down about $1 million, or up about $1 million this year, but we're still off from fiscal year 19. And this July kicks in the new biennial budget. The other miscellaneous receipts, we have that huge payment of over $900,000. That's the $1 billion dividend for workers' comp that we received in December. It's a one-time payment, so that did help offset the loss. Refund of a prior year's expenditure. We received refunds for workers' comp typically twice a year because we received the $1 billion, or we were part of the $1 billion refund. We didn't receive anything for the prior years. Our interest on investments were down. They, as you know, the investments tanked when COVID hit. Tangible person property were up. And then our other receipts were down because we had a TIF payoff in 2020. So all other revenue were up, but overall we're down about $195,000. Again, had we received that $208,000, we would have been even with the year before, despite all of the challenges we had in the revenue portion. So the expenses, we had huge expenses in our transfers for this year. Our food service transfer was up $388,000 in June for the year compared to last year. Our debt payment, we caught up the debt payment for the $4 million we borrowed a couple years ago. That was all planned. Next year, that debt payment, the extra payment will be half of that. And then we took on that phase 2 fit-up project in June that was not factored in the forecast because we weren't expected to do that. If you look at the other supplies, $1 million of that went for the acrylic barriers to keep the students safe during COVID so we could bring them back to school. It's interesting because the amount that we're up is about the amount that we paid in acrylic after we invested our coronavirus relief funding. So it was about $1 million. We also had to advance $363,000 to the PI for outstanding wellness center purchase orders, but we'll pay that back to the general fund once our settlement comes in. And then the only challenge that I think is outside of, it's not really outside of the norm, but it's probably something that we're gonna have to sustain moving forward, is our tuition expenses. Our tuition expenses for open enrollment was up in 2020, our community schools up, scholarships for Ed Choice and the John Peterson Scholarship were all up. I don't know that it will be as high next year, or we're gonna see as great of an increase in those payments moving forward, because of COVID being a different year, we did have some enrollment leave the district, which may or may not come back. So I wanted to show this to you and have a conversation about it, because even though we had all these one-time payments and expenses and challenges this year, we still had a balanced budget. So, just want to show you, and that's all I had for that piece.
We'll move on to the treasurer's consent. So I'd like to ask the board to approve on a consent agenda basis items 5.1 to 5.5. 5.1 are the minutes of the work session held on 6/14 and the minutes of the regular meeting held on 6/28. All members were present. 5.2 is the treasurer's report for the month ending June 30th, 2021. 5.3, the availability of funds for then and now invoices in excess of $3,000. 5.4, purpose and budget statements for school year 21-22, and 5.5, senior class transfers. And 5.6 is the consent agenda measure.
I'll move for approval items 5.1 to 5.5, or 5.6, I guess, on a consent agenda basis.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Bruce Lonsowski.
Yes.
And then the last thing that I have is for a first read is the student activity guidelines. Since sending it to you, I had to have conversations with a board member and actually Dr. Motley, and I did make some revisions, which will, I've changed it and I'll get it out for the next, for the final draft or the final grade, second reading and approval. But it has to do with the fundraising administrative guidelines. There was in part 7, there was a piece about 24 hours, deposit within 24 hours. And I was questioned about that, and it's in line with our board policy 6600. However, it says next business day. So I changed it to match board policy and then reference board policy. And then 9, we added the use of gift cards. We do allow gift cards, but they have to be nominal in value, and I know nominal is subjective, so I thought to have some flexibility, I would have that conversation with the principals. And then the last piece has to do with prohibited school activity fund expenditures, and there was one piece about meals, and we changed it to payment for student meals unless an overnight stay is required, but payment for meals may be allowed if included in the cost of dues. So if they pay a due for meals, you can go ahead and spend the money for meals that are not related to an overnight stay. And then also we have refreshments in there, but refreshments can be considered, I know sometimes they have like pizza at meetings, that's not really a meal, that's refreshments, and that's obviously allowed. So those were the two or the 3 minor revisions to the
So the-
student activity guidelines.
The refreshment piece is allowed to use out of the dues money or out of, they can put in for reimbursement for that if it's just pizza and drinks at a meeting?
Right, they can do that.
Okay, and I'm assuming the board member you talked to was Tammy, because she had contacted me since she wasn't gonna be here at this meeting, because she had a lot of questions. So I was gonna suggest we maybe table the first read, so we can discuss it when all
Sure.
5 board members are here. Is everybody okay with that?
Sure.
Okay.
Or we can do a first read and then we can discuss it, and then I won't have the second read on until I won't have the second read on until the August regular meeting.
So the second meeting. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to have a chance to
Sure.
discuss it as a board, and since she called with some questions, and she was concerned since she wouldn't be here, I said,
Okay.
we could just hold. So I'm fine either way, as long as we have a chance to discuss it as a
Yeah,
board
we can do that.
before we approve it. I'm ready for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we are with you, Dr. Motley.
Thank you. I recommend approval for item 6.1, which includes overnight field trips. Our Southview High School Band and our Northview High School Band will participate in a performance at the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World in Orlando. I'm so happy for these students. It's a great experience and a great memory that they will carry for a lifetime. It should be noted that those 2 trips take place, or that particular trip takes place during spring break. Also, our Northview High School Choir Director will be taking 30 to 40 students to New York to experience the performance venues, culture, and sites from February 18th through February 22nd, which is also President's Day weekend. And then we also have the Southview Orchestra and choir directors who will accompany 70 to 80 students to attend a performance in Chicago, along with a clinic led by professors at Vanderbilt College.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Just kudos to those teachers, because they had all those submitted like in March, and I said, we'll wait till like the next year before we get those approved, but they were ready to go with those, so
Yeah,
hats off to them.
So will the bands be performing on the same day at the Magic Kingdom, do we know, or are they
That I do not know.
be one after the other, or?
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be behind each other or like in tandem. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. But if you want to all go, we can all go.
I will say, I did go when my daughter was in Northeast Orchestra.
Oh, did you?
I did go, yes, so I'm just really happy to see trips back on French.
It's great for our kids.
Anything else? Ms. Shanks?
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Bruce Lanslutsky,
Yes.
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin.
Yes.
Thank you. I recommend item 6.2 CTE course fees for the upcoming school year, and those were attached. I will note that these fees are slightly lower than last year.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.
Bruce Lanslutsky.
Yes.
Thank you. I recommend approval for item 6.3, an amended district academic calendar for the 21-22 school year. More specifically, this addresses the preschool dates.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.
Bruce Lanslutsky.
Yes.
Thank you. I recommend for approval item 6.4, which is an agreement with Midwest Regional to support services for a vision impaired student for the upcoming school year.
I'll move approval.
A second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Bruce Lanslutsky,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Julie Hoffman.
Yes.
Thank you. I recommend for approval item 6.5, which is a Head Start agreement. This is an annual item between the Head Start as well as the Great Lakes Community Action Partnership and our Board of Education for Preschool Services.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Bruce Lensowski.
Abstain.
Thank you. I recommend approval for item 6.6, which is for correction to the minutes for the administrative contracts for the upcoming school year, starting the upcoming school year. The contract effective end date of July 31st and move it to July 31st. So July 1st to July 31st for the following administrative contracts.
I'll move approval.
A second. Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Bruce Lensowski,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Greg Feller.
Yes.
Thank you. I recommend approval for item 6.7, which is administrator additional hours. It's for 2 individuals who will be participating in a special education due process preparation, travel, and testimony for our district.
I'll move approval.
I'll second. Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Bruce Lensowski,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Greg Feller.
Yes.
Thank you. I recommend item 6.8 to approve additional hours for Laura Lowe, who is our new Director of Special Education Services. Laura will be providing some training for not only our coordinators, but for our administrative staff here in the district.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Bruce Lensowski,
Yes.
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin.
Yes.
Thank you. I recommend item 6.9, additional hours for Bob Vielhurst to complete some student services work. As you may know, he is working with us along with the Toledo-Lucas County Health Department on what that may look like this fall for schools, in addition to student registration and also onboarding our school nurses and new school nursing staff too, so that's a good thing.
I'll move approval. I'll second. Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Bruce Lensowski.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're still with you.
Yes. On a consent agenda item basis, I would like to recommend item 7.1, which is a license increase in position for Emily Zunk. For 7.2, I recommend approval for us to continue our work with the Aspire staff. Please note that Aspire is provided, it's our ESL Able GED program, and it is a grant that supports this initiative through Penta. Also, I recommend item 7.3, which is a license resignation for Besabeth Courts, and I am saying her name properly, so just make sure it's not a typo. And I also recommend item 7.4, license extra duty pay. There are a variety of recommendations here. One for special education coordinators for an extended 5 days, which is part of their job description. We also have employees for special education professional learning, not to exceed the hours listed. We also have substitute teaching for our summer school programs, PD support for English grade banded teachers, ESY, kindergarten screening, our preschool step up to quality protocol that must be completed. Also, we have additional staff members who need to also travel and provide testimony for a special education due process hearing. We also have an administrator or a teacher to administer the makeup test for the honors physical science entrance exam, and also we have a summer swing substitute. We also have a licensed substitute resignation, and I'm thrilled that we have several new teachers in item 7.6 that will be joining our ranks here in Sylvania Schools as part of our Sylvania Schools family. They represent the University of Toledo, Bowling Green, Kent State, and Western Governors University. So we are thrilled about these folks who are joining our team. And I recommend that item 7.7, which is the approval of the consent agenda items.
I'll move approval of items 7.1 to 7.6 on a consent agenda basis.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Ruslan Slutsky,
Yes.
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.
Julie Hoffman.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to classified. Item on a consent agenda basis. Item 8.1 is recommending the approval for a classified summer program for a classified staff member for the summer swing program, session 2. Item 8.2 is also a classified summer program for session 2, but it is a correction for Judith Smith. Item 8.3 is a recommendation for classified additional hours. And then we also have item 8.4, which is classified new hires as well. We have actually Christopher Bushin, who will join us in the maintenance department, who will actually already started, I believe, on 7/13. 8.5 is a recommendation for consent agenda approval.
I'll move for approval items 8.1 to 8.4 on a consent agenda basis.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Ruslan Slutsky,
Yes.
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin.
Yes.
Thank you. We do have one additional item as an addendum this evening. We are recommending item 9.1 to bring Christopher Bushin on as a full-time employee for our district. He's been serving as a substitute, but now he will be full-time.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Shanks?
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.
Greg Feller,
Yes.
Ruslan Slutsky,
Yes.
Julie Hoffman.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, it's board committee reports and announcements. Kim, anything? No. All right. Yourself? And nothing for me, it's slow in the summer. Okay, this is our second opportunity for public participation for items which are not on our agenda. Do you have anything? I'll call you.
Okay.
Okay. When I call you up, if you could just come forward, state your name and address, and then the floor is yours for 3 minutes.
Great.
Okay? Bill Hunsinger?
Yep, so I'm Bill Hunsinger. I live at 4900 Yosemite here in Sylvania Township, and this is really straightforward. I'd like to first of all thank the board for making an announcement about critical race theory and its teaching in the Sylvania school system. I would like to present you guys with a proposed resolution regarding the teaching of critical race theory and derivatives in the district for review. I don't know exactly what you guys did, whether you voted a resolution when you made it, before you made the announcement. This is a 10-page document. It's pretty specific. I just would like it reviewed, and at some point, if you guys could consider and vote on it, I'd appreciate it. So I'm just giving these.
You can give it to the treasurer if you like.
Okay, thank you much
Okay,
for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else, Amy?
No one online.
Okay. With that, I move we go into executive session for the purpose of,
The consideration of compensation of a public employee.
okay, so moved.
Second.
Okay, and we will not be taking action following. Ms. Shanks?
Julie Hoffman,
Yes.
Ruslan Slutsky,
Yes.
Kimberly Conklin,
Yes.